Shigeru Miyamoto is responsible for so many classic games made over the years, maybe one of the most popular ones being Mario 64. This is a Mario title that grew in massive popularity before it was even released. It is widely regarded as a classic and will always be an important game because its 3D graphics and controls were revolutionary and sent Shigeru Miyamoto to a massive success, virtually ending the rivalry between Mario and Sonic, leaving Sonic in the dust. But before any of these massive titles were released, it all started with Donkey Kong. In 1972, at the age of 20, Miyamoto enrolled in Kanazawa College of Art, and after 5 years he graduated with a degree in industrial design, maintaining the interest to draw manga comics reflecting on his creativity. However, Miyamoto's father was friends with the president of Nintendo, Hiroshi Yamauchi, and was able to get an interview for Miyamoto with them. There, Miyamoto had shown them his creative toys and inventions, landing him a job as Nintendo's first artist. When Mr. Yamauchi needed a game that would be revolutionary, he turned to Mr. Miyamoto with hopes of him accomplishing that goal. Here, Donkey Kong was made.
ビデオゲームっていうもともと技術者が作ったんですね。プログラマーとかハードウェア技術者が作るっていう。でそれを僕らはデザイナーっていうか、僕は工業デザイナーだったんですけども、そしてアーティストとか言われるそういう人たちがリードして作るようになったのが多分僕の世代だと思います。
In 1996, Nintendo released Mario 64, making them over $1.7 billion. It is extremely important in the history of gaming and is one of Shigeru Miyamoto's greatest accomplishments. Eventually, it helped promote Mr. Miyamoto to his current position in Nintendo, that being Creative Fellow, which gives him the power to continue making games for the Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda, and Pokemon franchises. In one interview, Mr. Miyamoto explained that in the process of making Mario 64, he spent a majority of his time on the controls of the game. This is most likely the reason Mario 64 blew up in popularity. It was one of the first 3D games, and for Shigeru Miyamoto to create controls that were enjoyable for people to play was something nobody could expect, because on previous titles it was the simplicity of each game that carried it to fame. Yet the idea of a 3D game was still so foreign at the time, people did not know what to expect, making the surprise of Mario 64 that much more meaningful and important to the history of gaming. In one interview with Mr. Miyamoto, the interviewer asked him what he thought the future would hold. He responded by saying he believes that he would not stop making games for a long time, and he is staying too busy for anyone to even be able to ask that question again. Shigeru Miyamoto's current official position in Nintendo is Creative Fellow, a title that gives him the power to continue making games for Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda, and Pokemon franchises. To clarify, as he does hold the title Creative Fellow, his position also can change temporarily from game to game basis. For example, he could be the producer, director, or designer for a game, also while continuing to be Nintendo's Creative Fellow.
Nintendo's board of directors meeting today has given new roles and titles to several key players within the company. Most notably, Genyo Takeda and Shigeru Miyamoto have been given the new titles of Technology Fellow and Creative Fellow, respectively. Both Takeda and Miyamoto were previously senior managing directors, acting in the company's lead role after the untimely death of Satoru Iwata. Nintendo has appointed a new president, Tatsumi Kimishima. Takeda is perhaps best known as the creator of Punch-Out and the Star Tropics franchise, while Miyamoto is arguably the most recognizable game designer of all time. In addition to the new roles assigned to various high-level executives within Nintendo, the company also announced a large-scale revision of the organizational structure of the company, scheduled for this coming Wednesday, September 16th.
One of the main reasons Miyamoto was given this job position was because the president of Nintendo died, and Shigeru Miyamoto had been one of the people who were there the longest. The importance of the role that Shigeru Miyamoto plays in Nintendo is significant, and most of that success can be contributed to the massive titles that were released by Shigeru Miyamoto single-handedly. Shigeru Miyamoto accepted the Culture Award on November 3rd, 2019. Accepting such a reward is something that Mr. Miyamoto did with honor. In the award ceremony, they recognized all of the work he has put into making his video games over the years. And in one interview, Miyamoto stated that this was one of his greatest accomplishments and how proud he is to accept it.
I am very honored to be recognized by CAPI for my work in children's interactive media. I think I grew up in an advantageous environment. What I mean by that is because we didn't have a car or TV in my home, we had to create our own media to have fun. I was always making puppet shows based on movies I watched and comics I read. One idea I had of an ordinary guy chasing around a troublemaking gorilla became my first game. I also explored forests and caves. My home was surrounded by a great natural environment. My heart raced as I explored secret doors and pathways, and finding new places gave me lots of surprises. Experiences like these became inspirations for things found within the Legend of Zelda games. When I had my own family, I took up gardening with my wife and created another game from an idea that came out of that experience.